My name is John Nyberg. I'm 32 and I analyze financial data for investment firms in the city. My life runs on precision. I wake at exactly 5:47 a.m., not 5:45, not 5:50, brew a single cup of measured coffee, and arrive at my desk by 7:30 sharp. My apartment sits on the 32nd floor, glass walls overlooking a city that never stops moving while I remain perfectly still. If you're listening to my story, a precision man who always dodged every move that could lead to intimacy. Subscribe and tell me where you're watching from and your name. I'm reading the comments because I want to see who truly connects with me as I share how those unexpected love butterflies finally hit me. It's been 3 years since I let anyone pass the lobby. 3 years since my fiancée walked out with my business partner, leaving me with a closet full of wedding plans and a lesson I learned too well. Control what you can, eliminate what you can't. So I built a life where nothing surprises me. Spreadsheets balance. Markets fluctuate predictably. My calendar has no gaps, no uncertainties, no room for chaos. Friends say I've got it all together. My sister Rebecca says I'm suffocating. One dinner, John. That's all I'm asking. I agreed just to make her stop calling. The restaurant was called Marco's, upscale Italian, soft lighting, the kind of place where people celebrate anniversaries and close business deals. I arrived 15 minutes early because I arrive everywhere 15 minutes early. I'd already mapped my exit strategy: polite small talk, fabricated early meeting tomorrow, apologetic smile, gone by dessert. Then Claudette walked in. She wore a red sweater that cut through the dim amber lighting like a challenge. Long dark hair, composed stride, the kind of presence that doesn't ask for attention but commands it anyway. She sat across from me with the confidence of someone who'd spent years orchestrating other people's perfect moments while her own life unraveled in private. We made it through appetizers talking about work, her events company, my analysis reports, safe territory where neither of us had to be real. We made it through entrees discussing the city, travel, books we'd both pretended to finish, still circling the edge of anything that mattered. Then dessert arrived. Her expression shifted. Something vulnerable flickered across her face, quickly controlled but not quickly enough. She set down her wine glass with deliberate care, met my eyes directly, and without preamble, lifted the hem of her sweater. The scars were extensive, surgical, permanent. They crossed her abdomen in stark lines that told a story I hadn't earned yet, but was suddenly desperate to understand. "No one wants to date me once they see these," she said. Her voice was steady, clinical even, but her eyes were watching for the exact moment I'd pull back, make an excuse, prove her right. I didn't look away. Every instinct I'd cultivated over 3 careful years told me to be kind but distant, to finish the meal politely and never answer when she texted. Return to my controlled life where nothing unexpected could reach me. Instead, I leaned forward. "I'm standing my ground," I said quietly. "And if I walked away from this table right now, I think I'd spend the rest of my life wondering who you really are." Her eyes widened slightly. Not hope yet. Hope had been rejected too many times, but something close. Surprise, maybe. The shock of someone not leaving. "Why?" she asked. Simple question. Impossible question. "Because," I said, still holding her gaze. "Anyone who has the courage to show someone that on a first date is worth knowing. And I think I've spent 3 years choosing safe over worth knowing. I'm tired of it." She lowered her sweater slowly, processing. Neither of us reached for dessert. "I donated part of my liver to my younger brother," she said, voice quieter now. "The surgery was extensive. He lived for 18 months after. Then his body rejected it. And he died anyway. So these scars," she touched her abdomen through the fabric. "They're a permanent reminder that sometimes you give everything and it still isn't enough." I understood then. This wasn't about physical scars or aesthetic rejection. This was about carrying the weight of a sacrifice that failed. "I'm sorry," I said, because what else do you say to someone who gave part of their body and still lost what mattered most? "Everyone's sorry," she said, not unkindly. "But they still leave." "I'm not everyone," I said. "You don't know me well enough to make that promise." Then let me get to know you well enough. She studied me for a long moment, and I could see her weighing risk against possibility, armor against vulnerability, every past disappointment against one fragile present moment. Finally, she nodded. Just once. Barely perceptible. Okay, she whispered. We didn't finish dessert. We ordered coffee instead and talked until the restaurant staff started stacking chairs. About her brother Marcus. About my failed engagement. About the ways we'd both built careful lives designed to prevent further damage. By the time I walked her to her car, something had shifted. Not fixed. You don't fix 3 years of grief or betrayal in one dinner. But acknowledged. Witnessed. I'd spent 3 years eliminating variables, controlling outcomes, building a fortress disguised as success. And she just walked into my life wearing red and showing me her scars, daring me to be something other than careful. I was standing my ground. I just didn't know yet that the ground beneath me was about to become something entirely different. My alarm sounds at 5:47 a.m. Not 5:45, not 5:50. Exactly 5:47, because that gives me precisely 13 minutes to shower, 8 minutes to dress, and 7 minutes to brew coffee before I need to leave at 6:15 to beat the morning traffic into the financial district. The apartment is silent except for the hum of the espresso machine. 32 floors up, the city spreads below my floor-to-ceiling windows like a spreadsheet of light, organized, predictable, contained. I measure exactly 18 grams of beans, tamp with consistent pressure, extract for 26 seconds. The ritual matters. Consistency matters. By 7:30, I'm at my desk analyzing market fluctuations for clients who pay me to eliminate their uncertainty. I'm good at it. Pattern recognition, risk assessment, identifying variables before they become problems. Remove the chaos, maximize the returns. It's not exciting work, but exciting is how people get hurt. I learned that 3 years ago. Her name was Victoria. We'd picked a venue, since save the dates, argued about whether orchids or roses made a better centerpiece. Then I came home early one Thursday and found her in our bed with Marcus, my business partner, my friend since college, the best man who was supposed to stand beside me at that wedding we never had. She didn't apologize. She said I was emotionally unavailable, that loving me was like loving a well-organized filing cabinet. Marcus said nothing at all. I moved out that weekend. Bought this place a month later. 32 floors felt like the right distance from ground-level chaos. My phone vibrates during lunch. Rebecca. I consider letting it go to voicemail, but my sister has a particular talent for persistence. When's the last time you saw another human being outside of work? She asks without preamble. I'm seeing you for brunch Sunday. That's 4 days away, and it doesn't count because I'm related to you. Her voice softened slightly. John, you're not protecting yourself anymore. You're just disappearing. I'm fine, Rebecca. You're 32 and you live like you're waiting for your life to start. A pause. I have a friend, Claudette. She runs an events company. She's brilliant, funny, and before you say no, one dinner. That's all. Just show up, be a human being for 2 hours, and if it's terrible, you never have to do it again. I stare at my computer screen, at the neat rows of data that never surprise me, never disappoint me, never promise something and then destroy it. Fine, I hear myself say. One dinner. Rebecca exhales relief. Saturday. Marcos. 7 o'clock. And John. Actually try. Just this once. She hangs up before I can change my mind. I return to my spreadsheets, to the predictable rise and fall of numbers, to the life I've built where nothing unexpected can reach me. Saturday is 4 days away. I have 96 hours to prepare my exit strategy. It won't be enough. I arrive at Marco's at 6:43, 17 minutes early, which gives me time to assess the exits, choose a table with clear sight lines, and prepare 3 polite excuses for leaving before dessert. Early meeting tomorrow. Migraine coming on. Family emergency. Though that one feels too cruel to use on a blind date arranged by family. The restaurant is exactly what I expected. Ambient lighting, exposed brick, couples leaning across small tables like they're sharing state secrets. The hostess seats me near the window. I order water, check my watch, and remind myself this will be over in 90 minutes. Then she walks in. The red sweater catches my attention first, bold against the muted amber lighting, refusing to apologize for taking up space. She has the kind of presence that doesn't ask permission, dark hair falling in soft waves past her shoulders. When the hostess gestures toward my table, Claudette meets my eyes directly, no hesitation, and I realize with uncomfortable clarity that my carefully prepared excuses won't work on someone who can see straight through them. John. She extends her hand. Her grip is firm, confident. Claudette, thank you for agreeing to this. I stand, pull out her chair, fall back on manners when I have nothing else. Rebecca speaks highly of you, she says, settling across from me. Though she also mentioned you haven't been on a date since the Clinton administration. I blink. It's been 3 years, not. I'm kidding. Her smile is subtle but genuine. Sorry. Nerves make me sarcastic. Something in my chest loosens slightly. Nerves make me calculate exit strategies. And how many have you prepared? 3. Though I'm rethinking the family emergency one. Good call. Too easy to verify. She picks up the wine list. Should we start with something that makes this less terrifying? We order a Bordeaux. The conversation flows easier than I anticipated. Her work coordinating corporate events and weddings, my analysis of market trends, the careful dance of two people offering curated versions of themselves. She's sharp, self-deprecating about the chaos of managing other people's perfect moments. I find myself talking about the satisfaction of pattern recognition, of finding order in apparent randomness. Appetizers arrive, then entrees. We discuss the city, neighborhoods we love, a sculpture exhibit at the waterfront she thinks I'd appreciate. I almost forget this is supposed to be an obligation I'm enduring. Then dessert arrives, and her expression changes. The confidence dims slightly, replaced by something more vulnerable, quickly controlled. She sets down her wine glass with deliberate care, and I know instinctively that whatever comes next will determine whether this evening ends politely or honestly. There's something you should see, she says quietly, before this goes any further. Without waiting for my response, she lifts the hem of her red sweater. The scars are extensive, crossing her abdomen in thick surgical lines. They're healed but prominent, the kind that tell a story of significant trauma, of survival that cost something. No one wants to date me once they see these, she says, watching my face with the careful attention of someone who's witnessed this moment before, who knows exactly when the polite retreat begins. Every instinct I've cultivated tells me to look away, to offer sympathetic words while creating emotional distance, to finish the meal and disappear back into my controlled life. Instead, I lean forward. I'm standing my ground. I say. 3 days pass in silence. I don't text her because I don't know what to say that won't sound like pity or false reassurance. She doesn't text me because, I assume, she's waiting for me to prove her right, to disappear like everyone else apparently has. On Thursday morning, my phone vibrates during my second cup of coffee. Thank you for not running. Just 4 words. No context needed. I stare at the message for a full minute before responding. Thank you for trusting me enough to show me. Her reply comes quickly. Trust is a strong word. More like, tested you. Did I pass? You're still here, aren't you? Something shifts after that. The messages come easier, tentatively at first, then with growing rhythm. She sends a photo of her espresso the next morning with the caption, yours is probably more precise. I send back a picture of my measured grounds. 18 grams. Always. Of course it is, she replies, and I can hear the smile through the text. We build a careful architecture of small exchanges. Her thoughts on a client's impossible wedding request. My observation about market volatility. Nothing too deep, nothing too revealing, but enough to establish that neither of us has disappeared. On Sunday, I text, there's a new exhibit at the Fry. Abstract expressionism. Would you want to go? She responds within minutes. Saturday afternoon. The gallery is quiet when we arrive, just scattered visitors moving reverently between canvases of violent color and emotional chaos. Claudette stops in front of a massive Rothko, studying the bleeding boundaries between red and orange. I spend my life creating perfect moments for other people, she says without looking at me. Centerpieces at exact heights. Timelines coordinated to the minute. Everything controlled, everything flawless. She gestures at the painting. But this is more honest, isn't it? The mess. The lack of clear lines. I understand then. We're the same person wearing different uniforms. She orchestrates weddings and galas. I analyze financial patterns. Both of us constructing elaborate systems of control to manage the unmanageable. My brother loved art, she says suddenly, still facing the canvas. Marcus. He was the creative one. Painted, drew constantly. She stops abruptly, jaw tightening. I wait, giving her space to continue or retreat. When she doesn't speak, I say quietly, I'm here if you want to talk about it. I know. She finally looks at me, something grateful and fragile in her expression. But not yet. Is that okay? Completely. We move to the next painting, and she slips her hand into mine. It's the first time we've touched since that handshake at Marco's. Her fingers are warm, her grip tentative but present. Neither of us pulls away. 6 weeks in, and we've settled into a rhythm. Wednesday dinners at small restaurants where we dissect everything from city politics to whether anchovies belong on pizza. Saturday afternoons at museums or driving the coast highway with no destination in mind. Sunday morning coffee at her favorite bakery where she orders something different each time while I get the same dark roast, black, no sugar. It's comfortable. Careful. We're both experts at staying just inside the boundaries of safe intimacy. Then she invites me to her apartment. It's nothing impressive, she warns as we ride the elevator to the 8th floor. Not like your penthouse situation. I don't care about impressive. I say, though I'm already cataloging what this invitation means, the vulnerability required to let someone into your private space. She unlocks the door, and I see him immediately. Marcus is everywhere. A framed photo on the entry table, dark-haired boy, maybe 12, grinning with paint-stained hands. Another in the hallway, Marcus older, thinner, hospital band visible on his wrist. In the living room, a large canvas print shows him at what must have been 14, sitting in a garden, looking directly at the camera with eyes that knew something the rest of US didn't. The apartment isn't a home. It's a memorial. He was my little brother, Claudette says quietly, watching me take it in. I tried to save him. The weight of that sentence hangs between us. I can see her bracing for my response, waiting to see what I'll do with her grief laid bare. My analyst brain activates automatically, searching for solutions, for ways to fix what's clearly still broken. Have you considered grief counseling? There are excellent therapists who specialize in. John. Her voice is sharp. Stop. I'm just saying there are resources, methods that have been proven to help people process. I don't need you to solve this. She turns away, arms crossing defensively. You think I haven't tried therapy? Support groups? Every recommended stage of grief handbook published in the last decade. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant that if I just tried hard enough, applied the right formula, I could fix myself and stop being so inconveniently sad. That's not fair, isn't it? She faces me now, eyes bright with anger and something deeper, disappointment. You analyze everything, John. Markets, patterns, risk assessments. But grief doesn't have a spreadsheet. Loss doesn't balance out if you just find the right equation. The truth of it hits like cold water. She's right. I've been treating her pain like a problem to be optimized, a variable to be controlled and eliminated. I'm sorry, I say quietly. You're right. I am, trying to fix something that isn't mine to fix. Her shoulders drop slightly. I don't need solutions. I just need you to be here. Can you do that? I think about my apartment, my routines, my entire life built on the premise that everything can be controlled if you're just disciplined enough. And I realize standing in her memorial apartment that some things refuse to be managed. I can try, I tell her honestly. She studies my face for a long moment, then nods slowly. That's all I'm asking. But the tension doesn't fully dissipate. Later, When I reach for her hand, she pulls away gently, murmuring something about needing to check work emails. The pattern is familiar now. Whenever we get close to something real, she creates distance. I drive home that night understanding that my control mechanisms are completely inadequate here. You can't spreadsheet your way through grief. You can't analyze away loss. And I have no idea how to love someone without trying to fix them. The invitation arrives via text 3 weeks after our argument. Company fundraiser gala Saturday night. Would you come? As my date. Official and everything. It's significant, I understand immediately. Her professional world, her colleagues, making us visible as a couple. I text back within seconds. I'd be honored. The venue is the Four Seasons Ballroom. All crystal chandeliers and carefully arranged florals. Claudette's work evident in every precisely placed detail. I arrive in my best suit and find her near the entrance speaking with the catering manager, resolving some crisis with practiced efficiency. Then she turns, and my breath catches. The dress is midnight blue, elegant and simple, with a neckline that dips low and back. Her scars are partially visible, not hidden, not apologized for, just there. Part of her landscape. She sees me staring, and her chin lifts slightly, defiant and vulnerable at once. Too much. You're stunning, I say, and mean it completely. Something in her eyes softens. Let's hope your opinion is the only one that matters tonight. I watch her work the room for the next hour, greeting donors, coordinating her staff, solving problems with the calm competence of someone who's orchestrated 1,000 events exactly like this. She's magnetic, and I feel an unexpected surge of pride watching her navigate this world she's built with such skill. I'm standing near the bar when a red-faced man in an expensive suit approaches Claudette by the silent auction table. I can't hear the conversation initially, but I see her posture change, see the professional smile freeze on her face. Shame about the scarring. The man says, loud enough now that I catch it. Otherwise quite attractive. Modern medicine, though, am I right? They can fix anything these days. They fixed the failing organ that would have killed my brother, Claudette says evenly. The scars were just the receipt. The man blinks, processing too slowly through obvious alcohol. Well, still, options exist. So does the exit. She replies with devastating politeness. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. She walks away with perfect composure, but I see her hand trembling slightly as she reaches for a champagne flute she doesn't drink from. I find her 20 minutes later in the coat check hallway, staring at nothing. Ready to go? I ask quietly. She nods without speaking. We don't talk until we're in my car, city lights sliding past the windows. Finally, she breaks the silence. Do you ever wish I was less complicated? I pull over, put the car in park, and turn to face her fully. I spent 3 years choosing simple. I say, simple almost killed me. Not literally, but in every way that matters. I was disappearing into spreadsheets and routine and the illusion that I could control my way into happiness. I reach for her hand. You're not complicated, Claudette. You're real. And real is the only thing I want anymore. Her eyes shine in the streetlight. I'm afraid of this. Me too, I admit. I'm doing it anyway. She leans across the console, and I meet her halfway. The kiss is gentle at first, tentative, then deepens into something that feels like surrender. Hers and mine both. Two people who've spent years building walls finally allowing them to crack. When we pull apart, she's smiling through tears. Take me home, she whispers. I do. Autumn deepens into early winter, and we fall into something that feels dangerously close to real intimacy. She keeps a toothbrush at my place. I have a drawer at hers. We navigate each other's schedules and silences, learning the rhythm of being together without performing it. Then the anniversary approaches. I don't know the exact date until I notice her withdrawal. Texts that take hours instead of minutes, canceled plans, a distance that has nothing to do with physical space. When I ask, she deflects. Just work stress. Big event coming up. But I know it's more than that. On a Tuesday night in late November, I let myself into her apartment with the key she gave me 3 weeks ago. The lights are off except for a dim glow from the bathroom. I find her sitting on the tile floor in darkness, still in her work clothes, a wine glass in one hand, and a framed photo of Marcus in the other. Claudette. She doesn't look up. You should go, John. Instead, I sit down beside her, back against the bathtub. What's today? 3 years. Her voice is hollow. 3 years since he died. 3 years since I gave him part of my liver, and it still wasn't enough. She finally meets my eyes, and I see something I haven't seen before. Complete desolation. I gave him part of my body. My literal body. Endured surgery, recovery, months of pain. And he still died. So what was the point? Why am I still here when the whole reason I did it is gone? The rawness of it steals my breath. This isn't managed grief or processed pain. This is the wound still bleeding, 3 years later, asking questions that have no answers. The surgery was supposed to save him. She continues, voice breaking. They said he had 18 months, maybe 2 years if we were lucky. We got 18 months exactly. I remember counting down those last weeks, watching the transplant fail, watching him get weaker, knowing that everything I'd done, cutting myself open, giving him part of me, it was all for nothing. It wasn't for nothing. He's still dead, John. She's crying now, the wine glass trembling in her hand. The outcome is exactly the same as if I'd done nothing. Except now I have these scars to remind me every single day that my love wasn't enough. That I wasn't enough. She sets down the photo and the glass, wrapping her arms around herself. You don't know what you're signing up for. I'm not sad sometimes. I'm haunted. Every single day. Some mornings I wake up and forget for maybe 10 seconds, and then I remember, and it's like losing him all over again. That's who you're choosing. Someone who carries her dead brother everywhere she goes. Every instinct tells me she's pushing me away because that's what she does when the pain becomes unbearable. Every instinct also tells me that if I leave now, I'm proving that her deepest fear is justified, that eventually, everyone leaves when it gets too hard. Then I'll sit with you in the dark, I say quietly. However many nights it takes. I'm not walking away from this. From you. I meet her eyes directly. I'm standing my ground. Remember? She stares at me for a long moment, searching my face for the retreat she's been expecting. When she doesn't find it, something breaks open in her. She leans into me, and I wrap my arms around her as she finally stops performing strength and just breaks. Completely, messily, honestly. I hold her on that bathroom floor while she cries for her brother, for the sacrifice that failed, for 3 years of carrying this alone. I don't try to fix it. I don't offer solutions. I just stay. The days following the anniversary are quiet, careful. I call in sick to work for the first time in 3 years, spending those hours at her apartment while she recovers from the emotional devastation of that bathroom floor. I don't try to manage her grief or schedule her healing. I just make coffee, sit beside her on the couch, exist in her space without agenda. On the 3rd day, she finally speaks. I've been waiting for you to realize this is too much. I look up from the book I'm pretending to read. What if this is exactly enough? She studies me for a long moment. You miss 2 days of work. You never miss work. Turns out there are more important things than quarterly reports. Something in her expression softens. You're really not leaving, are you? No. I say simply. I'm really not. 2 weeks later, she invites me to meet her parents. They live an hour north in a modest house filled with more photos of Marcus. School portraits, family vacations, a life preserved in frames. Her mother embraces me at the door with the desperate warmth of someone grateful her surviving child isn't alone. Her father shakes my hand and says quietly, she doesn't bring people home. Over dinner, I watch Claudette navigate her parents' grief while managing her own. She asks about her father's retirement plans, compliments her mother's cooking, carefully steers conversation away from the empty chair at the table that everyone feels but no one mentions. I see her role clearly now, the survivor carrying the weight of being the child who lived, trying to be enough for parents who lost half their world. On the drive home, she's quiet. Thank you for not making it weird. Your family's not weird. They're grieving. Same thing sometimes. She reaches for my hand. Your turn next week? I should meet the famous Rebecca. Rebecca takes to Claudette immediately, which both relieves and terrifies me. Over brunch, my sister asks thoughtful questions about event planning, shares stories from our childhood, treats Claudette like a person rather than my girlfriend who needs evaluation. When Claudette excuses herself to the restroom, Rebecca leans across the table. "Don't screw this up," she says. "She's good for you." "I know." "Do you?" "Because you look scared." "Terrified," I admit. "Good. That means it matters." Our lives begin to blend in small, significant ways. Her art prints appear on my sterile walls, abstract pieces with bold colors that disrupt my carefully neutral palette. My espresso machine finds a permanent home on her counter. She learns that I need my morning routine to function. I learn to embrace her spontaneous dinner plans and last-minute weekend trips. Her chaos meets my order, and we find unexpected middle ground. One evening, lying in her bed, I trace the lines across her abdomen. The scars are thick, raised, permanent. "Tell me about the surgery," I say quietly. "Really tell me. Not the version you give strangers." She's silent for so long I think she won't answer. Then she begins. "They took a third of my liver. The surgery was 8 hours. Recovery was 6 weeks of pain so intense I couldn't stand up straight." Her voice is steady but distant, remembering. Marcus's body accepted it initially. For 18 months, he was better. We thought we'd won. Then his body started rejecting it. Slowly at first, then faster. Within 3 months, he was gone. I keep tracing, not interrupting. "I was there when he died," she continues, holding his hand. "He was 14. I was 17. And I remember thinking, I gave you part of me. Why wasn't that enough?" "I'm sorry," I whisper. I spent 3 years believing the scars were my punishment for failing him. That I didn't deserve to hide them, didn't deserve to forget. She turns to face me. "You're the first person who's made me think maybe they're just part of my story, not the whole thing." I kiss her forehead. "They're part of your story, not the whole book." For the first time since I've known her, she smiles without sadness behind it. Spring arrives gradually, the way real change does. Not announced, just suddenly present. Cherry blossoms appear along the waterfront. The days stretch longer. Our relationship stops being something we question and becomes something we simply live. Claudette still has difficult days. Mornings when she wakes up heavy with grief. Evenings when a song or a scent pulls her back to memories of Marcus. I've learned not to try fixing these moments. I just stay close, make coffee, sit beside her in whatever darkness she's navigating. "Thank you for not needing me to be okay all the time," she says one morning, still in bed, eyes red from crying. "I don't need you to be okay," I tell her. "I just need you to be here." In late April, she asks if I'll go with her to the cemetery. It's Marcus's birthday. He would have been 18. We stand at his grave in silence, her hand tight in mine. She sets down fresh flowers and tells him about her life now, about me, about the event company's new contract. I stand back, giving her space but staying present. On the drive home, she says quietly, "You've made my life completely unpredictable." My stomach tightens. "Is that?" "I've never been happier," she finishes, squeezing my hand. I notice she wears short sleeves more often now. Not always, not as a statement, but casually, like her scars are just part of her body rather than something requiring constant management. She catches me noticing one Saturday morning. "What? You're not hiding anymore." She looks down at her arms, considering. I guess I'm not. Turns out when someone sees all of you and doesn't leave, hiding seems less necessary. 6 months after our first date, I make a reservation at Marcos. Same restaurant, same table if I can manage it. When Claudette walks in wearing a sleeveless navy dress, confidence in every step, I stand to greet her, and I'm struck again by how much has changed since that first night. We order the same wine. She smiles at the coincidence. Halfway through dinner, I reach across the table for her hand. "Do you remember what you said that first night?" She knows immediately what I mean. "No one wants to date me. Turns out you were wrong." I hold her gaze. Someone does. Someone wants everything. The scars, the grief, the messy, beautiful truth of who you are. All of it. Not despite any of it. Just all of you. Her eyes shine in the candlelight. For a moment she doesn't speak, and I see her processing the weight of being completely known and completely chosen. Then, quietly but clearly, I love you. I should have said that months ago. I love you too, I say, though I think we've been saying it in other ways all along. She laughs softly, wiping her eyes. Sitting on bathroom floors at 2 a.m.? Exactly that. We finish dinner without rushing, talking about her upcoming gala, my presentation next week, whether we should finally book that Vancouver trip. Normal conversation between two people who've chosen each other and plan to keep choosing. Walking to the car later, she stops under a streetlight. Thank you for standing your ground that night. For not leaving when I gave you every reason to. Thank you for trusting me enough to show me, I say, for letting me stay. Driving home, her hand in mine, I think about how wrong I was 6 months ago. I thought standing my ground meant staying in control, maintaining order, eliminating variables that could hurt me. I was completely wrong. Standing my ground meant staying present even when everything in me wanted to retreat. It meant choosing her not just once at that restaurant table, but every single day after. Through grief anniversaries and family dinners, and the slow, uncertain work of learning to love someone completely. It meant surrendering the illusion of control for something far more valuable. Connection, messy and unpredictable and absolutely real. She squeezes my hand at a stoplight. I squeeze back, and I know with absolute certainty that I'd choose this. Choose her 1,000 times over.